Mr. Secretary General, it's always an honor to have you here, and you get a sense from the awardees and all the comments made about the enormous respect that we have for you and the job. I have never seen anybody who works harder and more cheerfully than this man, and we thank you again, sir, for your great leadership. And to Ted Turner, as ever, Ted, thank you, and to all of our honorees, what a remarkable group of people, and how great it is for all of us to be associated with this diversity of people and this great sense of talent coming to bear on the world's most difficult problems. So thank you all for coming, and to our honorees, thank you and congratulations. Tonight we offer both a remarkable country and a remarkable leader, Norway and Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg. We give them the Champion of Global Change Award. We recognize Prime Minister Stoltenberg at a time when inspiration and leadership are needed to help the world meet the Secretary General's imperative of bringing the needs of the planet and those of the world's poor into a single and mutually reinforcing framework. We honor Norway for its consistent commitment to global development, sustainable energy, and global health, especially for mothers and children. Norway's and the citizen of Norway's continuing and undaunted commitment is increasingly important and significant at a time when many donor countries are cutting budgets. In the face of economic challenges, some countries, including our own in the United States, are unfortunately seeing international development as an opportunity to cut costs. They fail to recognize the return on foreign aid investment is essential to creating a peaceful and prosperous world. Norway's leadership is reflected in its commitment to the United Nations, dedication to human rights, and contributions to fighting global poverty. Norway is smartly investing in the world. Norway is known at the UN and globally for its steadfast role in global development and for its determined and creative leadership in getting results. While many of the development world focus is on effort, Norway tells us always, let's focus on outcomes. There are two people here, in addition to the Prime Minister, that I would like to recognize and who've been key in the fabric of Norway's wonderful commitment and engagement with the UN. Tore Godal, Special Advisor to the Prime Minister of Norway, is almost a, Tore is here. Tore, stand up, will you please? Tore, I want him to stand up because he is also a member of the staff of the United Nations Foundation. I will tell you, Tore is the single, Mr. Prime Minister, he is the single most persistent person I have ever known. He came in and he stayed there until he got all of the yeses, and we had organized how all of those yeses would come together into an effective package. I don't admire anybody more than Tore doing that. And Ambassador Morten Wetland, Morten is over here. Ambassador Wetland, thank you. The Norwegians, of all of the permanent representatives, the Norwegians continue to be on the cutting edge, willing to take chances on where should the UN be going, not what is business as usual, but where do we go from here. And it's been a great pleasure for us to work day in and day out over now a number of years with Ambassador Wetland. So Morten, again, we thank you very much. I know that the Secretary General counts on these leaders and on Norway among his special partners. We do as well at the UN Foundation. Our work with Norway is different from that of our work with any other country because we have so many intertwining relationships, and let me just tick off a few of those. The commitment to improve women's and children's health through the Secretary General's Every Woman, Every Child initiative. Tore Godal came and sat in our office and said, the Secretary General wants this to get done related to the MDG, related to maternal mortality. This is what we have to do together. And it got accomplished, Mr. Secretary General, and it was Norway's persistence that made it happen. Vaccinating children against measles with the Measles Initiative. We undertook this together some years ago. It's been successful beyond our wildest dreams. In Susanna's presentation about peacekeepers, there was notation of the use of mobile technology for health and the mHealth Alliance. that has been supported at its core by the government of Norway. Creating thriving markets for clean cook stoves that save lives through the new Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. Norway was among the first founders of that, setting that Secretary General, the Secretary of State in the United States and Norway have been two of the key leaders for that very, very important initiative. And now overall, combating endemic poverty by providing access to sustainable energy, the goal of the Secretary Generals for the coming up Rio Plus 20 conference. The Norwegian government has set up a very important initiative on that front as well. Finally, it was a special pleasure for us at the UN Foundation not only to be hosted in Norway at our last board meeting this last year when we visited Norway, but to go way up north to Svalbard and to see the extraordinary facility there called this seed bank. It's something that we had dreamt about when we first began. Could we make sure that the extraordinary biodiversity of the world was somehow saved, were something to happen, that we had a reservoir of that? We began that effort 13 years ago, conceptually working with a lot of the scientific community. We did not know that Norway was also beginning in its front saying, we know the place where this could be. These efforts came together, and we had the great privilege of going into one of the coldest places in the world, but I think one of the single most important ones, which is the seed bank homed in Norway and the home to the biodiversity that makes life possible for all of us. So we have had We've had the privilege of this remarkable relationship with the government of Norway and with the great generosity of the citizens of Norway. Norway's global leadership is reflected in the leadership of Prime Minister Stoltenberg. He combines the worldview of a man raised by public servants with the pragmatism of an economist. He put that background to good use when he himself became a public servant and has been doing so ever since. His approach is summed up when he described his commitment to fighting maternal and child mortality. Prime Minister Stoltenberg, when we met with him in Oslo, told us that as a father, he recognized the importance of saving children's lives. As an economist, he understood the means of achieving these goals, and as a politician, he had the opportunity to initiate action that will save the lives of millions of children and their mothers. I would say, Mr. Prime Minister, that we are also so greatly privileged to watch the leadership of Norway. Dr. Brundtland has been on our board for such a long period of time, and we begin to understand the culture of Norway that makes all of this possible. So, sir, we thank you very much. We recognize you, and most importantly, recognize your fellow citizens for their great generosity, their vision, and their leadership. And it's a great privilege for me and for all of us to present you with the Champion of Global Change Award, the most important part of this whole evening, but you are one of the world's most important citizens. We thank you very much, sir.